welcome to the Climbing Youth World Championships in Voronezh, Russia. Today we have some hello and welcome to the Climbing Youth World Championships in Voronezh, Russia. My name is Matt Groom and today we have a packed morning for you. We have the Youth A Female Lead Finals, and after that the Junior Female Lead Finals, and they'll be taking place on that red and white route on the right hand side of your screen. That's the stats for Russia. 23 degrees outside, 32% humidity, but we are inside the stadium here today, so it's nice and cool. Perfect temperatures for the athletes to show off all of their skills. And if you've been watching us all week, you'll know how much climbing we've been getting through. Semi-finals, finals, lots of action, sends, falls, some wonderful moments. So today we're going to be starting with the Youth A. Climbers will be climbing one at a time on that wall we can see. And it's an interesting route. I was chatting to the route setters earlier on, and power resistance is key on that thing. Novak should be out first, followed by Callie close. Marquetta Janosova will be following her. Anika Stuka will be out next. Ariane Franken, Alexandra Totkova, Sara and Alessia Mabboni from Italy will finish things off. That's our finalists. They qualified yesterday. It was a bit of a marathon of a semi-finals. We had two back-to-back. And then we switched immediately to the bouldering. And I do implore you to go and check out the men's bouldering finals from last night. What an exciting round that was. Epic sends all round. We're minutes away now. The athletes had their observation time. They've seen the route. They've checked it out. They've done their air climbing. And they're ready to attempt to send this brutal route. Starting on the right, he climbs into that corner and traverses out right towards the flower power feature. You can see the petal-shaped volumes in the middle of the wall. That's where our first cruxes are. They'll then continue towards the big red volume, the circular thing. There's a slight rest there, and I do mean slight rest. And then they have to launch up towards the vertical head wall where crimps beckon, finishing high up on the top of the wall. Will any of our athletes manage to finish this route? Time will tell, but we have some serious talent in the house today. Finals time, always an exciting, nerve-wracking moment. The athletes were waiting in the isolation area early. It's peaceful in there, it's calm. Then they take the walk around the side of our stadium to the backstage area, and all the time the crowd noises build. You can hear the music pumping. And finally they wait behind those flags you can see on the left-hand side of your screen. They'll tie in backstage, walk out with their belayer and face the route. Everyone's ready for the action. The Russian crew who are managing these shots, they're poised in the commentary box with me. Judges waiting. Nerve-wracking job they have. And of course the route setters who have been putting up fantastic routes for us all week. They'll be waiting to see if their creation works. So things are tense here in the stadium, and I know you back home, if you've managed to get up early and watch us, then hello. Please do send all of your support for the athletes climbing today. So Novak from Slovenia, she'll be out first. 16-year-old, qualified in last for this final from the semi-finals. You can see the cameraman down on the bottom waiting. Buzzers in the background. Sweaty hands all round, and there is Novak coming out onto the stage. A little jog to start. Chalking up as she goes. All-round athlete, competing in speed and lead. A couple of boulder comps as well in her time. Last lead comp she did, she came fourth, so certain potential for the top half of the finals, and maybe we'll see her first podium here today. Let's find out how she deals with this route. So Lisa starts off pulling through these red volumes. It is actually quite a tricky start to this. Often the route setters put something quite steady at the beginning, but it's immediately crimpy as Lisa disappears into the corner of this route and then up to the big side pulls. And there we can see our graphic on the left-hand side of the screen, starting at the start in the blue section, ending at the top in the yellows, and be able to watch our athletes progress and, of course, how they're doing compared to the other competitors. So Lisa Novak, a couple of tricky moves early on here in order to get established through this first overhanging section. There's a bit of a swing coming up here. She needs to come up into the crimps and then bump right into a big old jug that we'll see in a second, but there it is, that big white jug. Route setters feel they'll be able to stop the swing by kicking onto that volume, but let's see how they deal with it, because obviously all the athletes have different styles, different ways of doing this. So you just need to swing around nice and easy, foot up. And you can see quite a physical start to this route, into the undercling and then into flower power. These small crimps. Eyes it up, bumps for the first one. Gets a high foot into the second, and she'll need to make a clip here. And she does. And then more crimps coming up. 5 clips in at the moment. Remember, the athletes have to clip all the quick draws on the way up that route. And Lisa just taking a moment here, you can see quite difficult. She decides to match. She's got to get the high left foot up at some point, but she goes for the side pull first of all, immediately having to battle. And she rocks up physical, fingery moves early on. Up into the sloper. And she's about to enter the first resting position really on this route, the first and only. But a big move in order to get into it. We might lose a few here, but she makes the sloper stick. And this is the moment where she'll have a second to pause once she gets established on it. Up to the screw on. Heels up, makes the clip. And this is only really the only place they will be able to rest on this route properly, but she quickly moves through it. Head back, pumped already, trying to keep her heart rate down as she contemplates the rest. She's about halfway through right now. Drop knee in order to drop into that undercling. Bumps up, and another huge rock over move this route. Using all the shoulder muscles, back muscles, as well as finger strength in order to get your way up it. Lisa going well at the moment, getting encouragement from the crowd. You can tell she's having to fight now. Looks at left where that crimp is, a huge split move. Comes back down. She's going to have to get the left up, which she does, and now she needs to come out to that strange looking volume with the hole right in the middle of it, into the crimp, and it's going to be a bump right, which she sticks. Up again and fight. We lose Lisa. Great fight from her. So she sets the high point. 7 athletes to go. Remember, 8 qualified from the 26 in the semi-finals. Let's see a replay of this. So she's in the pocket. Up to the final rail crimp there. You can see above her head. Through she came. Didn't quite have enough in order to stop that swing. Latch onto that ledge, that little crimp. So Callie Close will be joining us next from Team USA. Now Callie's more of a speed climber. There she is. She was third earlier on this week in speed. 10th in Salt Lake City in speed in May as well, so starting now to develop her skills, move into lead a little bit more, and yesterday she managed to really make the knee bar on the semi-final route work for her, got a good rest there and saved enough for the head wall. So, and that was an interesting move because it was one the route setters did not expect. They thought there might be a potential for a stacked knee bar, but Callie managed to get it in fully. Let's see if she can find some ways through this lead route. And as you can see, 182 centimetres, fairly tall. And strong showing from her yesterday in that marathon of a semi-finals that we all enjoyed watching. She's climbed in multiple senior World Cups for speed. It's great to see a speed climber really start to do more lead competitions and excel in it as well. So into the corner for Callie. Nice straight arms there, resting well. This first slightly awkward move. This bump into the jug, and then a little cut loose move in order to swing around to the right, which she does nicely. A bit of a flexibility from Callie there, stretching way out right. And she'll bump into that good undercling. Callie now deciding to use the jug, then the undercling. Stands high on that left foot, making an easy clip. There's Callie, hold 19 for her. Lisa Novak setting the 40 plus as the high point. That's where Callie will need to get to. She doesn't know that's the high point. She's been waiting back in the isolation area. All her job is to climb as far as she can. Big swing there, holding it nicely. This is an awkward move which she makes, fingers slipping, and we lose Callie close on the big jug. That is an awkward move, that slopey surface. It's better towards the back of it, but you have to get up and into it in order to make that work, and she was just a little low there. Callie should be pleased with that performance. Awesome for her to make finals, and Team USA, of course, such a strong supportive team. Let's watch this again. Into these pinches. Needed to get really high on it. Slapped once, slapped twice, fingers slipping down. Try to find some friction, and finally the left not quite working. Down Callie comes. So Marquetta, Janosova will be out next from the Czech Republic. This Czech Republic team, a real depth to their squad. We were discussing it yesterday, but when you have the likes of Alexandra, Liska Adamovska as well on that team, then, well, you've got a good support network, some good experience to pull on. And she has won gold medals, multiple medals in her time, especially in lead. Continental Youth Cup was her last gold. And a strong lead climber, especially outdoors. Has sent 8A plus before, 7C, so certainly up at the level we'd expect these lead climbers to be at. Interesting 3 holes there at the start, isn't it? Choice for the athletes, which one they use. And up she comes with a high heel into the big red volume, up to the pinch. And again, heading towards the corner. Some interesting holds there, nice features. You can see there's big white volumes with pockets in them. Some of them more juggy than the others. That one, not too bad. The one further up, way more slopey. So Callie close sitting in second position at the moment. Lisa Novak in first at the very top. No problems early on from Marquetta. So it's 10:10 Russian time at the moment. So 9:10 Central European time. So if you're having your breakfast, good morning. If you're somewhere else in the world, well, good evening. Good super early morning. Marquetta entering flower power now. Going well so far. This overhanging route should suit her. She's a regular at Kalymnos, so we all know the overhangs that take place on that Greek island. And look at that little toe jam there underneath. That's smart climbing. Hadn't seen that from any other athletes. It'll be interesting to see if that's something that we see more often as this finals progresses. Using the heel instead of a toe. For a moment there, it looks like she was going backwards, but managed to make the bump well. And once you get through this petal feature, which kicks the wall back even more overhanging. Now this is the move that did for Callie close. You have to really get stood up high on this in order to make this red volume work, as she takes a second to chalk up and reaches through fairly easily on that one. She's climbed 7/8C in her time. Strong climber, and you can see that lovely shot. Thumb on the volume, fingers on the screw-on. Takes a little second to pause, but it is awkward. You can see that right heel almost sitting right down on it. Now gets the left heel in. And again, good footwork, stacking those feet in order to rest a little better. But with the body weight way over to the left, it is a bit awkward. There's only so much you can recover on a rest like that, and it's a bit of a balancing act, isn't it? Got to get enough back, but if you stay too long, then you aren't going to recover fully. It's just a chance to rest a little bit. And these resistant style routes have really been a feature of the Youth World Championships so far. A way to separate more bouldery athletes from lead specialists, perhaps. You can't just power your way through these routes. You have to have something in the tank, and now she's having to fight. Snatches at that quick drop. Up to the crimp, and she needs to find something here in order to get something back, I think. Out to the side pull. And this is another crimpy move that she doesn't quite manage to stick. Big cross through. You can see starting to struggle there. Sits down, faces the wall. Cameraman comes in. That's what you want, isn't it? But that's part of it, isn't it? This is part of this youth circuit, is dealing with that pressure, that scrutiny, not only from people watching, but from coaches, athletes, and cameramen. And that was the move, crossing through into the crimp. So Marquetta leaves the auditorium. Anika Stuka will be up next from Austria. So we're 3 athletes into this Youth A final. After this, we'll be watching the juniors on the same route. The route setters might tweak a little things. They're watching this, trying to analyse their calculations have been correct, and they will make a few changes, perhaps, between the categories. But right now, Anika walks onto the stage. She's 15. Competing since 2019, and in pairs, she was 9th in her last competition. Best this year was 6th in lead. into the sloper initially, and bridging out left, just off screen there, onto the side wall. Good clipping method there, using those thumbs, and that's something, if you're a more amateur climbing watching this, you'll know that clipping, one of those things the pros make look so easy, but it can actually be a feature of the route, these clips, the route setters, making the occasional clip quite tricky. Comes into the undercling first of all, then to the crimp, and then we'll look to bump that right hand up, which she does. Let's see if she does this toe jam in there. I think she has. Has she stacked her feet there? Not quite, but for a second she had it in. Coming towards Callie Close's third position at the moment. A couple of moves off that. Sets herself up for this bump, which she makes. Chalks up again. This is a tricky little sequence, this. You need to come out to a left pinch that, if you are struggling a little bit, is hard, and we lose her from that pinch. That is tricky, that section. This route hard straight away. The moment you pull on, it does take everything. Let's watch this again. She was bumping around a few times, trying to chalk up, looking for a better foot perhaps. Needed maybe that left foot high on the volume, that little triangular volume you can see. Anika leaves the stage. Hard to read the emotions there. One of those athletes who is in a bubble in her world throughout. I always find it fascinating seeing how the different athletes deal with the different emotions and stresses of competition climbing. So we're halfway through. 4 athletes done. Ariane Franklin, Anika's teammate, will be out next from Austria. Out she comes, mask off for climbing. She was 30th in speed earlier on this week, but leads really where her focus is at, and 4th in her last lead competition. No medals yet. Will this be the day? And no tops so far on this route, but some strong athletes to come. But a very difficult route for everybody here. Ariane working her way across into these pocket features. Into the corner for the first clip. And reaches out, shouldery moves on those crimps. It's all about getting through this first section as fresh as possible, because this next sequence before the little rest is, as we've seen, tricky. The first crux, the double bump and the high toe. Open crimps there on those crimps. Closed crimp is when you would wrap the thumb around over the top, and these athletes will be training that open crimp. And there you can see the closed crimp on the right hand side with that one, just wrapping the thumb a little bit. Puts more pressure through the fingers, feels a bit more secure, but one of those things you need to train in order to do it safely. And she gets the left foot up easily this time. Fighting though, takes a second to chalk up on that slopey pinch, but makes the ball pretty easily. Up she goes onto the sloper. This is her moment just to pause, try to get something back. Clip in. Very high left heel in order to rest. Crowd drops silent halfway through. Currently in third position. That left foot swinging backwards out into that iron cross move. Shoulders having to work so hard as she brings the undercling and then up to the clip, which she matches, having to fight. The pump hit her quickly there, didn't it? Third position though, 32, 40 plus from Lisa Novak. Is looking pretty good. The first athlete out at the moment. Let's see a replay of that. This was where you could see the pump was kicking in. Got that crimp high foot, and you'd want to ideally lock that off with one hand and go up, but she needed to match it. Feet trying to find purchase. Ariane comes off the mats. So we wait a couple of minutes here. Alexandra Totkova will be out next. I was here in the stadium pretty early this morning, and she was there with her coaches, having a sit, looking focused, calm. Alexandra Totkova, certainly one of the favourites for this competition, just because of her experience. She's been a regular on the senior lead scene. Briançon, she was 8th. Chamonix, 3rd position, a bronze medal for her already in the senior competitions. Part of Team Bulgaria, which has to be said has had a strong team here this week for the youth champs. A lot of depth in that squad, so it'll be exciting watching them come through into the senior circuit in the years to come. Easy to forget that Alexandra is just 16. Has a bright future. We'll be seeing a lot more of her in the upcoming seasons. Makes the clip of the corner. See, thumb in the bolt hold there is allowed. They block them if they really don't want the athletes to use them, but trust me, they are tiny little holds. It's just another extra purchase, especially with the thumb sometimes. We all remember Brooke Rabatu's standing in one of the screw-on holds on the wall itself. Unbelievable in Salt Lake City for that bouldering comp. No problems so far for Alexandra. Out to the jug, cuts loose, swings round. She's climbed multiple 8Cs in her time. More AA pluses than you'd care to remember. A strong outdoor climber as well as a plastic warrior. Currently in 6th on the graphic on the left, coming up to Anika's 5th place position. This is where things start to get difficult. And hand on the sloper, up to the pinch, deciding not to put the high left foot in, but had the reach and the power to do that. Now finds the left foot, and she'll drop her knee right down in order to get up onto that red ball. A little swing, and then check out that screw hold on top. Big moves from Alexandra here. and a high double heels. Heel hook, such a feature of these modern lead routes at the moment, and the different styles of the athletes climbing. Flexibility training, the ability to rest on those heels and use them. Something we've seen develop more and more in competition climbing. She slightly loses the right foot there. You can see just you need to put so much weight on it, especially in that splits position. And the second there isn't weight going through your feet, you have little pops like that, but she recovers from it well, brings the left out and in. Slightly different style here. Goes up with the left and has to match. So halfway through the route for Alexandra Totkova, in third position currently, just underneath Marquetta Janosova's score, 35 plus, she's on 34. Bumping up and moving into third position, and second now. She competed in speed earlier this week, coming 23rd, and now she needs some of that speed power for this section of the route. Thinks about clipping down low. And drops the move up to the crimp. So second place for Alexandra Totkova. Lisa Novak, score of 40 plus, is looking more and more impressive. Let's watch a replay of that. There was this little clip that we thought she was going to make down low, decided to continue. Bumps up for the crimp and just a low on it, not on top of it. So second place for Alexandra. Yeah, Lisa Novak came out first, and obviously the first climber out, it's always hard to make a call on whether it's a good score or an average score, but turns out 40 plus with 2 athletes to go is the number 1 position. That's what they have to beat. But Sara Chopka will be out next for Slovenia. Sara Choppa walks to the mats. What can she do? 168 centimetres tall. Hasn't got any medals at the moment. You see a Slovenian climber, you almost expect them to win, don't you? But a lot of development in that squad as well. A lot of them using Domin Skofit's new climbing wall. An amazing new facility in Slovenia, because climbing walls in Slovenia are something that has been developed more and more recently, but until fairly recently they haven't necessarily had these facilities. Sara topped out the semi-final route yesterday, one of 2 athletes to do it. See if she's managed to recover overnight. Alessia Mabboni, the second athlete to top a route, she'll be out last here. Sara, straight arms into the corner, feet way out left, and now bumps into the big jug and an easy swing around we've seen most of the athletes do. It looks from the ground like a bit of a pop, that bit of a jump, but athletes able to do it statically. Sara into this crimpy first crux. Hard to see some of those screw-ons. There are some tick marks, but they are again small, so you just have to sort of go up hoping they're going to be there. Speed could be a factor here if she tops it out. And Alessia from Italy tops it out as well. It's going to go back to time because they both topped the route in the semi-finals. So perhaps speed a factor, but at the moment, as we've seen, this route proving very difficult. Just getting through the head wall at the moment is hard. Makes the clip and managing to make that rest look better than the others, perhaps. More in control at this moment, leans way back. Using a sort of bicycle style toe hook inset press, or outside foot press in order to get that rest. And now crosses through into the undercling. She'll unwind her body outright. It's that little swing with the leg to balance. Powerful moves throughout on this. +40 is the score to beat at the moment, and she moves towards Marquetta's third place position. Looking good at the moment. Slight bump on this one, and now some hesitation. She tries to work up the foot placements for this big move into the crimp, but she makes, and then such a high foot, and another huge rock over move coming up. Left hand through to the crimps, and this big volume with the pocket in it beckoning. You can't really see it from that angle, and she won't be able to see it, but it's slopey. Second place at the moment, 38, moving towards first position. High left foot. Moves into the lead with 40. And now we get to see this head wall in action. Still in control, still calm. Plenty of time as well left. Out onto the slopers. And the route set is sticking in a bunch of crimps nearing the top of this route. Out onto the crimps, nearing the top now, slapping up. 46 is the new high point to beat. One clip away from the top. Sara, chop up, moves into first position. Let's watch the replay of this again. You can see those small crimps high up on the wall. That's the last clip. The athletes can just concentrate on climbing at this point. No need to worry about awkward clips at this point. It's just sending it to the end and slaps up. So, with no tops so far, it's going to come down to a straight fight. So Alessia Mabboni will be joining us next, and it is going to be a straight fight for her. She knows what, she doesn't know what she needs to do, but we know what she needs to do, and that is just to climb as high as possible. It's not going to come down to time or anything like that, or count back. And she gets the same score. Alessia has won medals before. In fact, silver in her last competition. And until fairly recently, until this year, she was more of a boulderer. And again, wearing the funkiest socks around. She was doing this yesterday in a semi-final. And we're talking about it because most climbers do climb with bare feet in shoes in order to avoid any kind of rubbing in there, any movement, and also because it's fairly hot. Are we seeing a new style, a new way of climbing come through? I'm going to go out immediately and buy some socks. It'll make me climb 8C. Guaranteed. Out into the corner then. She topped out the route in some style yesterday. Wonderful to watch. Her first Senior World Cup was in Briançon this year, so she's announced to the world her intentions. 42nd there, which is good for a first Senior World Cup. It's such a step up, such a different atmosphere as well moving between these youth comps and the senior comps, and lots of athletes move back and forth for a while when they're still in the age categories, just in order to get as much experience as possible. Alessia with the high heel, deciding better of it. Bumping up with the left. Determined enjoyment on her face there, I think. She makes a high clip above her head. Crosses through with the left, then matches. It's great watching her climb. She has a different style from a lot of the other athletes, finding new beater. Whether it's right or not is debatable, but it's great to watch. Up into the first rest, which isn't really a rest, as we know. Check a second to shake out, chalk up. Alessia having to fight here a little bit. With yesterday's semi-final heroics taking it out of her a bit. Out towards the tick mark, gets it. Now she'll look for a high left heel and lay right back, arms straight in order to try to get something back. She topped the qualification routes as well. So tops all the way through for her, as did Sara Copar as well, to be fair. Both these two athletes perhaps slightly different league at the moment. So a tight competition all the way through this Youth A female finals. Now climbing slightly quicker. This is a big move she has to do now. Gets her foot in a huge split position and statically finds the crimp, which is blocked. You need to be precise on it. Out towards the right, Team Italy getting behind her now as she bumps into the pocket. Looks down and makes the clip down by her knees. And we lose her in second position. And that's going to mean Sara Copar will take the win with 46 plus. No tops so far, and I think fatigue just starting to kick in for her there as we watch a replay of that fall. Bumping that right hand, elbows coming out, getting the left up, and then this tiny crimp doesn't allow much, and you have to be accurate, and you can see just not quite on it properly. Head in her hands as she came down. So second position for her, silver medal. Her second silver of this season, and that is confirmation of the results. Sara Copar in first position. Alessia Mabboni in second. Lisa Novak, who came out in third, in first position in third. And what a tight competition that was. You can see all in the 40s, and throughout this week here in Voronezh, these three athletes have been neck and neck pretty much, just exchanging tops all the way. Especially the top two, Sara and Alessia. Really wasn't much to call between them. So the athletes are announced. We just see a little replay of Sara's winning run. That was the initial crux. And they're being announced now onto stage. Congratulations to everyone. Hugs. That's great to see. Two Slovenians on the podium. And Sara Copar adds another medal to that stacked Slovenian trophy cabinet. They exit the stage. And we'll take a little moment here. The route setters will be cleaning the route and perhaps tweaking it. I'll keep an eye on that for you to let you know if they change anything. They might do. They might make it harder, easier. We'll see. They've certainly immediately got the cherry picker out. You can see it down on the bottom right. Up they'll go to clean it and make some adjustments. So we'll be back soon for the junior female lead finals. Stream will continue. Don't go anywhere, but do take a moment just to relax and take a break. If this isn't relaxing for you. I know my hands are sweaty. This is the only stream that we have today, these two finals. But don't you worry, you can go back and watch all of the action from yesterday. They're all available on the IFSC YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. Follow along all the action from this week. We've got photographers, videographers, everyone working hard to give these youth climbers the best possible exposure in Russia. We're watching Sara's run here. So enjoy the replays. We'll let the route setters do their thing. And we'll be back with you soon for the junior female lead finals. I can't wait. Welcome back, everybody, to the junior female lead finals. Athletes are being announced right now onto the stage. Same route as we watched the Youth A. I didn't see the route setters making much tweaks, and this is our 8 women who come out for the observation time. It's going to be an interesting finals this. We've already seen 8 athletes on this route, so we know some of the difficulties that face them. No tops so far from anyone, so it'll be interesting to see if anyone can unlock the sequences, the beta, the physicality needed for this route. So they turn, getting ready to study it. They'll be working, as you can see, sometimes in pairs, sometimes with friends, sometimes in teammates. Sharing beta, working it out is all part of climbing, and it's something that's installed early on in the mentality of competition climbers, which is great to see. What was the situation? So the athletes just taking some time here to work it out. Some of them with binoculars on, so they can try to work out the intricacies of this route. Swiss athletes, Chile, France, Slovenia, Russia, Czech Republic and Japan are all represented. Three athletes competing today topped the semi-final routes. Nonoha, Kume, Smetanova and Daria Mezentseva. They all topped that semi-final route. And because of that, they're coming out last in this position. So that is Ignacia Quinteros, the only Chilean athlete in this final, strides towards the wall to check out these first couple of holds. They're allowed to touch the first couple of holds in order to get an understanding of what the positions will be in, what it will feel like on the wall. Ignacia had such huge support from the Chilean team. They were right below our commentary box. They went absolutely crazy when she walked up the stairs to join them yesterday. Really cool to see. Lots of support for all these athletes, of course. Lucija Tarkus there with the red hair. An up-and-coming star of the Slovenian team. One of the ones to watch for sure. The only Russian athlete in this final, Daria Mezentseva. Be getting the support of her home crowd. Binoculars out for Nonoha there. Checking out the top section of this route, trying to work out what the crimps look like from the ground. As we all know, if you're a climber, so the athletes, last couple of seconds to observe the intricacies of this route. That is our starting board. Joelle Niederberger will be out first. Nonoha Kume coming last. The athletes, as always, climbing in the order in which they qualified, so the athlete out first will have qualified last. And Nonoha qualified first. And although the top 3, 6, 7 and 8, they all top the route, there will be count back towards the qualifications in order to separate them. And it does mean when we get lots of tops in the semi-final that theoretically, if they all top it in the final, then we'll be looking at time in order to separate them. So we've just been analysing the stats there, and I don't think it will be come back to time because of the separation in the qualifying and the semi-final round, so we'll keep you updated. But it is tight here at the top for the junior females. But time will tell. This route so far has proved to be a real separator. No tops at the moment, and quite spread out scores, but of course everything might change with the juniors, so we'll wait and see. But Joelle Niederberger will be out first of all. So we're about to get underway here. A couple of seconds remaining. That's our route on the right, that white and red. Just joining us, we've already had the Youth A females already climbing on this wall. That was earlier on in the stream. Now it's the time of the juniors. Joelle Niederberger will be out next. She'll be coming out of that bottom left-hand side of her screen, walking over the mats onto the red and white route on the far right. You can see a variety of volumes waiting on the wall. The route setters can't put up all the routes, otherwise the athletes would get to see them, so they have a very busy job running around setting all the routes. They've already planned them, set them, tried them. It'll be interesting, as it always is, between the two categories of climbers. I think in other sports we see age as such a sort of a separator almost, whereas in climbing, well, how many times we watch young crushers send unbelievable things, but it does come down to experience for competition, and some of the older climbers in the older categories, they will have a little bit more experience sometimes, the ability to deal with the pressure. Sometimes that does play a part in separating them. A little brief moment of pause here. The athletes will be backstage. There's a certain amount of time they have to get ready. Coming up to 10 past 11 Central European time. So they'll be back there nervously waiting their moment in spotlight. Junior female lead finals. Got a packed schedule tomorrow as well. Packed schedule all week, in fact. Lots going on here in Voronezh. The Youth World Championships, and of course the IFSC circuit will continue after this, off to Slovenia. And then the World Champs in Moscow, so packed couple of weeks. Some of the athletes who are competing here, I'm sure, will be there, mixing it up a little bit. So the officials are ready, we're ready, we just need the athletes to appear. And I can see flutterings behind the curtains. Thumbs up all round. We're poised. So here we go, representing Team Switzerland. Joelle Niederberger will be out first. She walks across the bottom of the mats. Reminding herself of the route. She's 18. Beating all the way back since 2017, so this is the experience I was talking about. She'll understand these competitions, she'll know the pressures, the stresses involved. No medals for her so far in her competition career. But lots of final appearances. So she gets us underway now. We know the drill on this route. Comes into the corner, traverses outright, and then straight up the middle of this overhanging wall. And there is our graphic on the left to show the positions. Obviously in first position as the first athlete out. And it is quite awkward, this beginning. Sometimes straightforward starts. This is not one of those. It's physical at the beginning, immediately difficult. Gives them a taster of things to come. I'm sure they're sitting there hoping that it will get easier. I'm afraid it doesn't. Let's challenge these athletes, shall we? So Joelle, looking good at the moment, just pressing herself into the corner there. Quite an awkward position. It's a good crimp. You can see the chalk all the way up her arm. She'll be using that at some point, just patting it on the arm. Also stops the sweat running down. Little cut loose coming up here, feet up to the left. She pops, holds it, nice little swing. Out towards the right. Into the undercling. And up she goes. Using a very high heel. This is a position we haven't seen before. Not sure how efficient that was because it's a big cut loose in order to get through that. She's breathing hard already and needs to do a big move up to the crimp, which she makes. And again, a heel. A lot of athletes going up with a toe on that hold. Heels are good, but sometimes we see little pops going on, and she loses it on the first sloper. Early fall from Joelle. Well, that's an indication, isn't it? As if we didn't need one of how difficult this route is. Let's watch that again. She was looking a little bit out of it with the beater, got this split move in with the right heel. Stuck it for a second. Couldn't keep it together. But our high point is set. And as we saw the competition before, Lisa Novak set a high point and stuck with it for a long time. So second athlete out will be Zoe Egli. She's competed in senior competitions in Villars in Switzerland. That misty competition we had a couple of months ago now. She's 19. And her sister just missed out on this final in 9th position. She was bumped down at the very end of the competition. Thought for a second we were going to get two Swiss sisters, which would have been cool to see, but Zoe represents the Egli family here. Out she goes to the left now. Makes a high clip. Matches this little ball feature, looking slightly more comfortable than Joelle did at this stage. Joelle found quite an awkward little position here with that high crimp. That was it there, she was resting on. Zoe decides to move through more quickly. Feet out to the left. Little pop out and a cut loose. That's the end of this initial section of the route. The route setters do more and more of this kind of setting where we break the route down into different parts. Bump out to the crimp, but she'll catch the undercling next. And this is where Joelle has started to struggle a little bit on this section. She went for the high heel rest, which seemed more difficult to get out of than the rest afforded. Making easier work of this section. Toe up instead of a heel this time, and twisting in with the right foot. Into the slopers and into first position. Currently, up to the ball. Having to work hard a little bit there. Almost comes backwards, manages to hold it with the left hand. Oh, and we lose a fall on the big red volumes. We're going to watch a replay of that in a second. This route so far shutting down the juniors early on here. Let's see what happened. So she's in the ball feature, needs to make a big move up with the left hand, but she does. An adjustment, and then the peel off, slipping down. Two athletes, two early falls. What a competition this is so far. Zoe will leave the stage. Comes back into the holding area on the left-hand side as the Bile clears out the box with the rope, leaving the stage clear for our next athlete. Ignacia Meado Quinteros will join us. There she is from Chile. Great to see so many countries represented here at the Youth World Championships. IFSC doing a great job of getting everybody over. She's 18. 36th in Chamonix for the senior lead. Competed in Villars, Innsbruck, in bouldering and lead. So one of those athletes who's really making this transition into the senior circuit now. Does a little bit of speed as well, some bouldering along the way. She's won gold in the combined in the Pan American Youth Championships. So her speed climbing coming in useful. Right, into the corner. Now see, it takes a second to chalk up. She's got a very low chalk bag there, hasn't she? Hanging right down, works for her, obviously. Into the slopers to start things off, and this slightly awkward first section out towards that little crimp. Pops off the pinky. Now into the crimps, and hips close to the wall now. She crosses through into the pinches and then gets a high foot. So none of the juniors so far getting past the initial rest, which isn't really a rest. We should stop calling it a rest. The initial moment to shake out after the flower power section here. Up she comes into the crimps now. Gets the toe on, matches. I don't know if you can hear in the background a bit of noise, but the bouldering qualification rounds are going on for other categories. But our focus right now is on the lead. Climbing solidly at the moment. Good footwork, in control. Into that clip and having to work now a little bit, bump that right hand. She's looking out for the left, sticks it with low feet. And now a big move up onto the ball, and this is where we lost. Joelle earlier on. Matches now, and this is the move to move into first position. She slightly missed that screw on though, no, bumps it over, now gets it, and with the double high heel, she should take a second here just to clip, chalk up and shake out. Matching that nicely, and she'll be looking for the tick mark out on the right hand side on that dish. Gets it, and she's moving easily into first at the moment. Next section of the route does feature some quite difficult big rock over moves, high feet, shouldery presses. Yeah, the crowd's going absolutely crazy for her. You can hear not just Team Chile, but all the teams giving her encouragement. The Team Chile screaming at the wall. Great to see. She makes progress now. She's not going to let him down, is she? Shaking out. Setting the new high points here. Big crossover with the right hand. How is she still going? Relentless from her. Now the bump with the right. This could be tricky though, because now she's going to have to somehow match. Comes back down. She needs to get the left hand on that hold. It is blocked. It's tricky to get. This could be the moment for her. Pulls up, hesitates, crosses with the left, and this finally, that's the move that undid her. What a performance. Kept on going even though she looked tired. And she'll be up into first position right now. Well, 3 athletes done, a new high point set. Chile in the lead at the moment. Thumbs up, and she'll leave the stage in the hot seat, #1 position. Remember in Villars with that, the throne they set up. I want a Russian throne, where is it? I'll try to organise it. We'll spray paint a chair or something. So out next will be Camille Pouget from France. And the new high point set though, we see an athlete breach through that initial crux section down low. Here is Camille Pouget, another athlete with medals to her name, multiple over the years. 2016 she started competing. Gold in Switzerland last, in lead. She's done well in bouldering too, so powerful athlete with endurance to match. Will we see that high point just set? Ignacia go down, let's see. Crosses through into the dish. Out to the left and then into the corner feature. Team France well represented at these Youth World Championships. But that's her task ahead of her. Currently in 4th. Coming up on Niederberger's score. Horizontal now as she eyes up this next section, this little pop out. Out towards the crimp. 2 methods to do that really. You either go into the undercling first of all or bump out to the crimp. So first crux, how will she do this? Physically bumps up and then she looks to get a high left toe. Certainly the way to do it rather than that heel method we saw earlier. Out towards the sloper. It's a bit of a shocking start in terms of how hard this is for these athletes. They need to take a deep breath at this point and realise there's going to be a fight all the way. Into the awkward ball. So in control, Camille Pouget at the moment, in third position. Or second now, she gets upgraded on her score. Legs swinging out to the right to balance that swing. Managing to find rests in good positions here. Second, Quinteros' score still high up the wall away from her. This is her last year as a junior competitor. Very much into her training. And Paris 2024 is where her focus will be for bouldering. Her aim is to climb 8B plus outdoors. So rock climbing and plastic climbing, she does it all and now makes this cross-through move. Gets the clip in. If she moves through here, she will be in first position. She is now. Up until the pocket. Great route from the route setters. This really separating the athletes. Up until the crimp, Camille Pouget going from strength to strength on this route. Hasn't made the clip yet, matches, and now she'll bring that left hand down, makes the clip. Last couple of holds for her, the head wall above her. Tiny feet in order to make this little tiptoe traverse to the left. Out towards the dish. Starting to fight now, fingers just holding on. Camille Pouget, new high point, 46 for her. Near the top, but still no tops. Will that be enough? Looks up with smiles on her face. She did seem to just improve in confidence throughout that route. Yeah, she seems happy with that performance, as she should be. Let's watch it again. This final crimpy section. It's always the route setters. This is something they seem to be putting in a lot during these Youth World Championships. Physicality down low and then crimps at the end. And that feeling when your arms are pumped to try to lock off a crimp, on a hold a crimp. So difficult. Sara Copar's score was 46 plus in the earlier round. So higher from the Youth A at the moment than the juniors. Sorry, she was higher score than the Youth A. Just. So we're seeing progression on this route. The athletes piecing it together. Sorry, 46 plus, there we go. So slightly higher up than the Youth A by the plus. So a new high point on the route. Lucija Tarkus from Slovenia. This is a young woman who might win this competition. She has gold medals to her name. She won in Zelina. She's won bronzes, silvers. True contender to climb this. She's moved into the senior circuit this year. 26th in Briançon. 14th in Villars, so it just shows she's got such potential. But as we know, just breaking into the Slovenian team is hard enough, so let's see what she can do here for the youth champs. Again, thumb in that bolt hole, are allowed to do that. Route setters will block it off if they don't want to, but it doesn't really give very much. She's a very good boulderer, and that could play an important part in this route. Blockmasters in 2020, she made the finals. That's a bouldering competition. Because of how powerful some of the moves are, some of the sequences. could play an important factor. Just to have that bouldering power in your back pocket. And this is the first of the bouldery sequences now. Out to the crimps. Up she goes. Stretched out. Rocking up. High hands. And just looking around the corner there in order to see that crimp. And again, using the same method. Left foot up, then the right. Cross up with the right hand. She'll bring her hands into match right now. See Tarkus in 4th position currently. So she made it through this bouldery sequence up towards the rest, and her bouldering prowess is certainly doing her proud here. She's one of the few Slovenian athletes who can make bouldering finals. Think of Janja, Luka Rakovic, Mia Krampel, some of the other ones who can. And therefore, it will make her a great all-rounder for Paris. Perhaps the future of Slovenian climbing we're watching right now. I did say this is an opportunity to see the future Olympians, and we could be seeing one right now. Gets up to the dish, bumps over onto the screw-on. Slovenian team right next to us in the commentary box, splitting their time between the bouldering behind us and Lucija on the lead wall. They don't know where to look. They're like watching a tennis match back and forth. Great support from everyone here in the stadium. So Lucija crossing through, slightly awkward sequence this, she's matched, now gets the left, brings the right into that undercling. So much body tension required in that move, and up to that little tiny crimp. Lucija resting her way through it, trying to be careful with each move, doesn't want to be snatching at anything. Up to the crimps and breathing hard now, nearing Quinteros' 2nd position, currently at 33, aiming for 38, and of course, way up that 46 plus from Camille Pouget. That will take some beating. Lucija, Tarkus stretches up high onto that tiny little hold, foot around the corner for a second. And then easily up with the left hand. We've seen a few people get a bit confused there, trying to go up with the right, have to come down. See Tarkus moves into 2nd now, 38 on the scoreboard. Bumps right, another bump into this pocket, which she sticks. Right into the meat now, into the technical section of this route. .40 her score, 46 plus is what she's aiming for. She won't know that, of course. We have the benefit of knowing exactly where she's got to get to, but for her, she's just climbing as high as she can, battling the pump, the fatigue. And this is such an awkward section. You can see just tiny feet in order to make this traverse to the left. Bumps the right up. 44 her score, needs 46 plus. Matches, and this is where you're going to have to start to crimp. This is where you need your fingers to obey you. High up with the left, eyes the next hold. She moves ever closer to Camille Pouget's high point, 45. Oh, slight slip there with the left, creeps her way out right. 46, 47, she will move into the lead. Coming closer to a top, snatches, misses, but 48. Climbs with intention and well into a new high point. What a fantastic route this is from the setters. Each athlete having to step it up. We watch a little replay of her fall. So Lucija Tarkus leaves us. So the next athlete out will be Russian Daria Mezentseva. She lives in Nonoha, if I've said that right, which is in Siberia. And a little fun fact for you, her home is further away from Voronezh than the IFSC headquarters are in Milan from where we currently are. So huge distances she has to travel. Sorry, in Torino, not Milan, but it just shows that the distance from Torino to here is the same as from where she lives in Russia to here. This gives you an idea of the scale of the country that we're currently in. Daria, slightly shorter climb, and we saw her struggling with that in the semi-finals, having to work out some different beater. Height never really an issue in climbing, it's just an excuse often. One I use regularly. It just means you have to work out different ways to do sequences. Hasn't had many competitions under her belt. The one she has done, she's done well in. 2020, she was 6th in lead. 2021, 4th. Heavily strapped up shoulders there, preventative measure usually. Tape. So let's see how she works out some of these sections. Reaches up high. This will be a bit more of a pop for her than the other athletes, and it is, you can see, having to cut loose a little earlier in order to make that work. She's one of those athletes where it looks like she might be in trouble, but somehow just keeps on going relentlessly. Alexandra Totkova is the other athlete immediately comes to mind, who has that style where you think at any moment she's coming off, but nope, she's still around. She's done well in the Russian Championships as well, silver medal for her. And certainly a bit out of the blue, she's come from nowhere and could really represent, again, the next level of Russian climbing. She uses the high heel and a different beater coming up with the right hand. That looks awkward though, because you're going to have to match it. Surely not. She might have climbed herself into a difficult position here with that match. That would have taken something out of her, the high right heel. I told you there'd be different beater, and that is fascinating to see. Now she needs to make this big slap up right. We've seen her walking around the stadium, laser focused. She's not the most dynamic climber around, and that actually could suit her for this. So many high rock-overs and presses. But this is going to be tricky for her. A bit out of reach. Look at that, statically does it. Now cuts loose. And again, a different method. Oh, my eyes are watering as I watch that knee position. How does she twist into that? My old bones creaking as I watch that. And again, that same position with the left heel, such flexibility from this young athlete. And her height here playing an advantage. I mean, she can rest far easier. If she was a little taller, she'd be more scrunched up, more uncomfortable. Now she swings outright. Climbing methodically. Interesting beater. 28 her score, currently in 4th position. Should be aiming for that 38 of Quinteros. The double bump, the high toe. Looks like she's going from strength to strength here, finding confidence. Presses up underneath. Not even really looking to where the hold is, instinctively knowing where it is. A big cross through. And low feet. Out now onto the presses. Out with the right, that could be an issue, unless she can match it somehow. And I wouldn't put anything past her at the moment. Now she drops down with the left. No, back to the right. How is she going to match this? Let's watch this sequence. No, she's going to have to go left, which she does. I tell you what, her endurance is pretty amazing to watch here. She actually trains on only an 11-meter wall. Does it by going up and down and up and down. So the fact she's still here, the coach is doing something right. Up she comes, high, onto the crimp, fingers scrunched up, brings her right now. 41 is her score in 3rd. Bumps. Ignacia down into 4th. Look at that heel position. Ballerina-like, toes towards the floor. That flexibility. Oh, just pops the foot, manages to hold it. Having to fight now in the last section of the route, misses the slap up, and it's 3rd for her as it stands. That was great to watch, wasn't it? Yeah, she was actually a ballerina before she started to be a climber, so that downwards toe towards the ground, that's how she found that, and that is the move I was talking about. Great climber to watch, completely different style and beat it from the other athletes. And one for the future, Russia climbing bright for her. So, time for the Czech Republic to represent. Michaela Smetanova will be out next. Daria goes to join her fellow athletes down in the holding area. It's hard to tell at the moment. It could be anyone's game still. 2 more athletes to climb. Michaela Smetanova will be out next from the Czech Republic. Out she comes. Another athlete with medals to her name. She won the Continental Youth Cup in Imst. And she was 2nd silver medal for her in Žilina. Good watching her climb yesterday as well. So 2 athletes to go, and we have our high points set from Camille Pouget. Sorry, Lucija Tarkus. She competed in Chamonix for the Senior Cup, coming 33rd. And she's been transitioning all season, in fact, so Innsbruck, both lead and boulder. Briançon in 2020. So making a break for the senior circuit here. Comes from the same hometown as Adam Ondra. No pressure. So it makes high clips right in the corner of this wall. Eyes up the next part of the route. Coming to the right. Just joining us, we're at the end or coming to the end of the Climbing Youth World Championships Junior Female Lead Final. Live here on the IFSC. My name is Matt Groom, and I'm being helped and assisted by my wonderful teammates. We have a small team out here in Russia, but everyone working incredibly hard. So thank you to everyone who's putting in all the effort. And I hope you guys are enjoying it back at home. I know I am. It's been a great week so far, and we've got a lot of climbing to come. So Michele coming into the flower power section up to the crimps. She'll be looking for a big bump out to the left with a high toe. All of the athletes in this junior finals climbing slowly and steadily through this section is what you have to do. You've got to pace yourself through this part. Up she comes into the pinchy sloper. Arms wrapped around that sloper now. And a big bump up, she almost drops. It's hard to get that screw and hold in the first attempt. Look how closely matched that top three is there, overlapping each other on our graphic. Falling in a similar place right on the head wall and the crimps. That's where Michele needs to get to. Michele starting to struggle here a little bit, almost lost it on that match. Had to snatch into the undercling, snatch into the crimp. She could be in trouble here. Out to the right, now takes a deep breath in order to compose herself. High feet with a big rock up, but that took something out of her. She does the match. One of the first signs that she could be in trouble. Needs to come up with the left, eyes it, reaches up. Smoother that time. And crosses through onto the crimps. But I think she's a little tired here. That right arm starting to come back on her as she comes out, holds the swing, every move a bit of a fight for her, and yeah, she comes down, coming up to that crimp. So that's not going to be enough for the podium. And only one more athlete can do it at this point. Nonoha Kume will be out last competing. The only one who can knock Lucija Tarkus off the top spot. Let's watch a replay of that. Yeah, this is where she started to struggle and almost left it. You can see having to really snatch almost before she was ready, just catching it on her fingertips. Really fighting all the way. Just perhaps looking a little bit tired. So finally, Nonoha Kume will be out last to compete. One of the joys of watching these youth competitions is we get to see first-time athletes, really. And Nonoha, although she's very experienced in Japanese tournaments, best score was 6th for bouldering, but we haven't really seen her on the IFSC circuit at all. And yet here she is qualifying in first position for our finals. So it's a fresh look at this young athlete. She's 17. And this could be an eye on the future. Bows to the crowd, gets ready. Reachy start for her, smearing with the right foot and then into the route itself. And immediately using interesting beater with a high right foot there in order to rock up. This Japanese team's so good at using rests. Using every advantage they can get out of the route. A final athlete. Lucija Tarkus will be watching nervously from the holding area. That's our wall, that's where she's at. So, through the first section, unscathed, looking fresh at the moment. That is our top three. Lucija Tarkus, 48 plus. Camille Pouget on 46 plus. And Daria Mezentseva, third with 45 plus. That's what she needs to do, Nonoha, in order to break into the podium. All down to her now. Jan Vert on the corner of the wall there, taking the shots, getting the bangers. Up she bumps with the right. That quick draw right in the middle of the petal-shaped feature there. The pollen in the middle, if you will. Too fancy? Bear with me. Nonoha moves into 8th position with 21. About a third of the way up this route. Dances the feet to the left. Still looking fresh, isn't she? High reach up, and she'll have to wrap her arms onto this red volume. I always think watching the Japanese climb is how I would ideally like to climb. I wake up in the morning and I think I'm going to climb like a Japanese athlete. I never do. And just to show how strong this Japanese team is, she was 34th in the lead Japan Lead Cup this year, so 16th in bouldering. So there's a huge depth of athletes. Misses the foot once, sticks it the second time. Keeps in control though. This is the move that Callie just now looked a little bit awkward on, this reach through into the underclings. Climbing slightly quicker now, needs to get through this section. As physical as that big rock over move is, it's a different set of muscles. Allows them just to rest their fingers for a sec. Looks down at the clock, plenty of time. In 6th at the moment, 48 plus is where she needs to be, 33 is where she's currently at. Reaches up to the crimps, closes it off. She's through the first half unscathed as she comes into the vertical head wall of this route. And it is a big head wall on this wall. Head wall is the final section of a route, usually vertical. And here in Voronezh, on this particular side of the wall, it is large. The left-hand cross through reads that beater well. Seems easier to go up with the right, but matches on the crimps now. Left foot pressed against the wall, an inside flag, now bumps it up onto the crimp, reaches to the slopey side pull, bumps the right foot up, eyes up the pocket on the left, which she gets, and bumps out, nearing that 45 plus. She'll move into 2nd position. High on this wall, falls. And she will be in 2nd position, which means, no, she's going to be bumped up, we think. We're waiting for confirmation of this. And there it is, confirmation. 48 plus will be the victory for Nonoha Kume. Lucija Tarkus in 2nd, just. Due to the count back, same score for the finals. Count back to semis, making the difference here. Oh, so close to making that crimp work. So, we said that she was fairly unknown, and this fairly unknown athlete has just won the junior female lead final. Holding her arm there, and a slight tweak. She almost looks disappointed. You've just won. Enjoy this moment. Maybe she doesn't know, and now the smile breaks onto her face. There is a tear in there. Her so composed, walking over. Lucija Tarkus comes to greet her. A truly fantastic effort from her. What a climb. How much talent is in Japan right now, eh? That is the confirmation. Nonoha Kume will win on 48 plus. Lucija Tarkus in second. Camille Pouget, who held the high point for so long in this final, on 46 plus. She will take the bronze medal. And we watch the athletes there at the bottom of your screen line up. The podiums will actually be awarded later on this evening. This is for you at home to see the top three. Japan, Slovenia and France will walk away with the medals here this morning. In the middle, you've won. I think it's starting to sink in. You can see she's emotional in this moment. Oh, don't tear up, I'll tear up. Great to watch. The athletes leave the stage. That was a lot of fun. Great competition, fist bumps all round. And that is the end of our live stream action here in Voronezh. We've got qualifying going on all day, which we aren't broadcasting. But we'll return tomorrow for another marathon of climbing. Packed action tomorrow. So thank you to all the organisers here, everyone who's helped with these live streams, my colleagues. My name is Matt Groom, and it's been a pleasure calling all of the action for you today. We will return very, very soon. Medals handed out. We move on with the Youth Championships. Have a lovely day, everyone, and make sure you go back and check all the live streams from the rest of the action that's taken place this week.